Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. But overspending and under budgeting? No, that's two totally different things. Let's learn why. Hello world, my name is Hannah, and I want to dissect the difference between two different money tendencies that tend to get synonymized with each other: overspending and under budgeting. Now, from the outside, these two habits both look like the same. Essentially, you end up needing to spend more on a certain expense in your life than you planned because you didn't have as much money put away for it as you needed. Did that make sense? But at the root, these two money tendencies come from totally different core causes. Overspending is a singular event, while under budgeting is a chronic trend due to a lack of information. Let's start with overspending. There are two conditions in which overspending happens: conscious and unpredictable. Conscious overspending barely needs a definition. I mean, I think we all know what that means. Like when my husband and I see that we only have $5 left in our dining out budget for the month, but we choose to go to a candlelit steak dinner in the city anyway. This just happens due to a conscious overlooking of the budget, or maybe you just forgot to consult the budget in its entirety. To put it poetically, our eyes were bigger than the stomach of our budget. In this situation, there's really just one solution that you can't nonchalantly moonwalk your way around. You just need to consult the budget first before spending money to see if you have the means to spend that money in the first place. Boom, easy peasy, problem solved. But I must recognize that overspending is obviously not always a frivolous or spontaneous choice like that. I mean, how many times have you had $0 left in gas money, but still 5 more days of work to commute to before the month is over? Unless you are going for hour-long joyrides all week with no purpose or end destination, it likely just means that life simply required more travel of you this month than it usually does, so you needed to fill up your tank one more time than you normally do. And if this just happens here and there a couple times a year, then all we need to do is roll with the punches and carry on. Maybe move some money from your dining out category to cover the overspending in your gas category. But if this is happening every month, like you are chronically overspending in your groceries budget, now that's an issue of under budgeting. For instance, if you allow your family $150 a week for groceries and yet you always end up spending at least $175 and the fridge runs totally bone dry by the end of the week, you're not overspending, you're operating on insufficient information. Consistent and chronic overspending might not be your budget guilting you saying, hey, cool it on the groceries, pal. It might actually be your budget telling you, hey, listen, your family actually needs to consume more than $150 worth of calories each week. Time to bump up the budget a little bit so that you're not constantly overspending in your groceries category and then feeling guilty for it. When you shouldn't, your family needs to eat. But it's also worth saying, it feels easy to justify upping your budget when it comes to groceries or gasoline or your electricity bill because these are our essentials for daily life. Don't tell the 1800s I said that. Are we allowed to say we're under budgeting in our video game category or art supplies category? I mean, those aren't essentials. Well, actually, yeah. Listen, a budget is a plan we make with our money to accomplish the priorities we have for our life. For most of us, rent and groceries and paying our utilities are our first priorities. I mean, duh. But after that, your priorities can look a whole slew of different ways. Weekends at the bowling alley with your best friends, buying supplies for your carpentry hobby, working remotely from a coffee shop every day. If you are constantly overspending in a category, yeah, maybe it is just a bad habit that you could rein in a little bit, or maybe it's more of a priority for you than you realized. I did freelance wedding videography for a long time, and I always got so distracted when I worked from home. But in a coffee shop, I could crank out edits for hours, and I always felt guilty about that because I was always overspending in my coffee category until I realized, no. Working from a coffee shop instead of at my house actually makes me a better worker and therefore a happier person. So is it okay to up my coffee budget a little bit or exponentially more than the average person's coffee budget? Heck yeah it is, because I'm better for it. For me, that is a very acceptable use of my money. So next time you notice yourself overspending in a certain area of your budget, ask yourself, is this just plain old overspending? Or is there a chance I'm actually under budgeting for something that's more important to me or more demanding of me than I realized? A really great way to figure all of this out is to get your budget out of your head and onto paper or a spreadsheet or an app. Our app, You Need a Budget, or YNAB, is awesome for tracking spending trends, rolling with the punches when you overspend, establishing more guidelines for your spending, saving money, paying off your debt, all of that good, glorious stuff. And if you'd like to take a whack at it, you can do so this very moment with our free 34-day trial, no card info required, no strings attached, linked right down below in the description box. If you do, we have plenty of resources all over our website, our YouTube channel, our social media to help you learn best practices for budgeting and using YNAB. And I promise, I have a hunch, you won't regret it. So thank you for tuning in with me today, and happy budgeting. If only you guys knew the pajama pants I was wearing right now. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Tend to get synonymized with each other. Synonymized?